Serious, what have you done in real life that deserves gold? I used to live with the coolest girl in the world. She had just been hired for a new job, but hadn't started yet. On the way to go eat breakfast one morning we stopped by her new place of employment so she could fill out some paperwork. While doing so, she smiled at me and asked want to be my beneficiary for my life insurance. I laughed and said, oh yeah, that would be a fun conversation to have with your family. She was around 26 at the time. I thought she was joking, but noticed she really did put me down as the beneficiary. I was surprised at that, but quickly forgot about it. 1 year later she was killed in a car accident. A month later I get a letter and it all comes back to me in a very surreal moment. The payout was $55,000 in 1997. Gave it all to her family. I miss you so much, Jilly. Good dude. And sad. When I was 7 I overheard my dad talking about a friend of his that was worried he couldn't give his daughter a good Christmas. I told my dad to take my bike, that I didn't use it very much, and so he gave it to the father who gave it to his daughter for Christmas. I got word that she was really happy about it. Best feeling ever. Whoa, most people weren't that good of people when they were 7. Good for little you. Left a club early morning and walking back to my car, found a drunk girl crying and being harassed by some guys in a poorly lit park. Pretended I was her friend that had been looking for her. Walked her to a safe place and put her in a taxi. Saved my neighbor's dog from drowning in a nearby river. He's an old man and the dog fell off the edge of the embankment. Ruined my shoes but saved a life. I hope I was able to talk a guy out of suicide. A customer came through my checkout line in a hardware general store with Tylenol, 10 feet of rope, and a really downtrodden expression, almost on the verge of tears. I asked him if everything was okay, to which he flinched and didn't answer. I couldn't let him walk away without finding out what was wrong. I sat him down at one of our patio displays and bought him a Coke. He smiled and thanked me, didn't say much, kind of gazed into space, then got up and left about 15 minutes later. He left the rope and Tylenol there. I've been in a similar state before, so I wanted to do what I could to help. I still think about him and where he is right now. Hopefully he's okay. If I was able to help him at all, that would be the best solace. Acetaminophen overdose is actually one of the most painful ways to end it. Vomiting, diarrhea, excessive sweating, insane abdominal pain. According to some people, feels worse than having a heart attack, convulsions and finally, coma, liver failure and death. All of this over the course of 12 hours to a few days. Few years ago I was in line behind an elderly Hispanic lady with a young boy in her cart while checking out for groceries. She was being exceedingly slow, paying in change and coupons. I had all of one item, and hers was the only short line. I didn't realize that it was clear because people kept abandoning the line. I wasn't in a hurry or anything, but slow is slow, and I kind of grumbled inside a bit. But I actually started paying a bit of attention and realized she was deciding what she couldn't take. Ended up being milk, orange juice, a few cans of corn, and a few other simple things. The cashier set the stuff in the take back box and they left. As the cashier scanned my one item I had her give me all the take back stuff in a bag too. Cashier grinned and hurried. I ran off after them. Caught up with them just outside the building and I told her she forgot a bag and put it in her cart. And then I quickly walked off before she said anything. No idea if the situation really was the way it seemed. Old woman caring for grandkid, broke as all heck, making hard choices, etc. But I felt good about it. Sometimes being a cashier is super hard work because you get people from all walks of life through your line. It's always hard watching someone struggle with what they really have to have but usually can't afford. Anyways, thank you for being so awesome and helping someone out. I've been making an effort to pick up litter when a trash can isn't too far away. It's probably the easiest thing to do and I hope more people start doing the same. I've been doing the same. It annoys me when there's a can on the floor and there's a trash can like 20 feet away. Many years back, my best friend since pre-K school got hooked on perks and I heard he was interested in trying H. I was 21 at the time. To do what I could, I took him hiking in the woods and read him the eulogy I wrote for him. I told him I would read it at his funeral if he OD'd. At the time he thought it was ridiculous, but years later he told me that it convinced him to check himself into rehab. He's been clean since. TLDR. Read my best friend his own eulogy and convinced him to go to rehab. Several years ago I was pretty broke. Found a wallet with $513 in it. Returned it to owner. It was a single dad who had recently sold his guitar to pay the bills. Sold his guitar to pay the bills. Holy crap. That poor guy. Mad props to you, man. No need for gold, but I have done one good deed in my life that I enjoy sharing with people online. I once met a person online. Not in a romantic sense. He was a gay guy, I'm a straight girl. We clicked on a friendship level and began talking. We chatted about books and movies and we learned a lot about each other's countries. He was from the UK and I'm from America. We eventually started Skyping and such. And we exchanged addresses so that we could mail each other our favorite books. He was on a fixed income check while recovering from a bout of severe depression in which he tried to commit suicide. One week, he was really pissed off because his roommate stole money from his room, so he was going to have to go hungry for a few days. I was concerned and he said it was fine. Happens often. And changed the subject. Something didn't sit right with me. So I did something I never thought I would do. I ordered a big food basket from a service out there and had it shipped to his home. He was crying when he talked to me because he was so blown away that somebody cared that much. I didn't have a lot of money at the time, but I can't imagine going hungry. A couple months later his sister paid for him to go to bingo with her, and he won a few £1,000s. He insisted on paying me back for the gift basket, but I refused the money. Just knowing that he tried to pay it back was enough for me to know how appreciative he was. We're still friends and I hope to go to the UK and visit him in the next couple years. I ran away from home when I was 12 because of an abusive situation. When I turned 18, it was really difficult to come out of hiding, which led to a lot of trouble getting vital records and enrolling in school. I didn't get financial aid for a long time. I'm in college now and have created a transitional program for homeless and runaway youth. The BOG waiver covers their tuition, and we cover their books, supplies, fees, and offer free bus passes. Foster youth, orphans, and wards of the court already have programs, but homeless and runaway students are never taken care of. There aren't many people in the program. It's very niche, but if it helps only one person, I know it's enough. It has already helped 3. I have always worked on holidays or during major events because most of my co-workers have children, families they want to spend the day with, and I don't. It might get buried, but the other week I was shopping and a little old lady came up to me and asked if I could get some sugar-free drinks off the top shelf for her. So I did, and she was just talking to me about how her husband used to get the drinks because he was taller and how he carried everything for her. I asked where he was and turns out he passed away a few weeks beforehand of cancer. So I offered her my help to get anything else she needed. Did the rest of the shop with her and carried it out to the car. Gave her my number and told her if she needed anything else just to give me a buzz. Now I got over to her house once a week and just help with odd jobs. Her family live out of state and she's glad for the help. You're a wonderful person. This reminded me of my grandma actually. When I was little she would always go shopping for the older lady across the street, and I would always go there and help her with her groceries or help take care of the cat litter box or just little things like that. I have considered myself an atheist since high school. I'm creeping towards 30 now, but my best friend's dad was highly Catholic, the religion I was raised in. However, he married a Protestant woman who had been married previously and did not want to have her previous marriage annulled, so his strict church told him he was living in sin and could no longer attend church or take sacraments. When I was in college, he was diagnosed with terminal cancer. My friend informed me how depressed he'd become due to not having the comfort of his religion and genuine fear of what the afterlife held for him. Despite leaving the church, I had always thought highly of the priest from the church I went to as a child and thought he'd never stand for what a dad was going through. I called up, scheduled a meeting, and sat down with him to explain what was going on. He told me, "Death is no time to be waving dogma in a man's face. Jesus wouldn't do that." After that, he was at my friend's dad's hospital bed every day to give communion, pray with him, hear confession and give him the anointing of the sick. He said his funeral mass and rosary and he was buried in a Catholic cemetery. Perhaps it's Father Jerry that deserves gold more than I, but it's the thing I've done I'm most proud of. As a Catholic, I know this is what Jesus would do. Thank you for putting your beliefs aside to honor this man's. God bless for Jerry. I pushed a girl out of the way of a moving car and got hit. Broke my hand and wrist, but got to know the family of the little girl and they were very nice. Other than that I'm usually a dong, honestly. I didn't even notice there was a car coming. I just like to push little kids. Stood up for a friend. Got beat up. Worth it. Learning to fight is a great skill to have, never should be the first resort, but you need to know how to defend yourself. Take up boxing for a bit. It's really fun doing all the exercises, even if you don't get in the ring. I already commented, but this was about someone else. I was buying about $10 worth of things around Christmas last year. The woman ahead of me paid for my stuff. It wasn't that expensive, but she doesn't know that I just had a baby and was really struggling with money. That simple gesture brightened my day. She deserves gold. Just spent the last part of an hour on the phone for my dad who is really sick and cannot find his insurance card. In the end, which I still can't believe this, apparently on the weekend, it's impossible to get a copy of your ID card without your policy information, which is on the card he can't find. So I spent 45 plus minutes talking to department by department, following links on their homepage, doing all this nonsensical balls to just try and get him a copy of his own card, and would have been unsuccessful had I stopped there. I ended up digging through his week-old garbage, looking for anything from those people, and to much surprise and luck, I found one. I was then able to take that information from this bull's letter, warning us they had been electronically compromised and to check credit reports for fraud, in other words, completely non-health related. To create an online account for him, which finally, I was able to print off a temporary ID card so he can finally go see a freaking doctor. He's been sick since Tuesday, and getting sicker worse every day. Today he can barely breathe, but still insisted he's fine. The truth of the matter is, he can't afford to pay out of pocket to see a doctor. He needs his insurance card. So now I scheduled an appointment with urgent care, taking him up there in an hour. I hate to imagine what would have happened if I hadn't stepped in. This couldn't have waited until after the holiday like they kept saying on the phone over and over I'd have to do. BTW, an emergency room will see you no matter what, and you can take their billing department his proof of insurance next week and it'll be covered. The copay is much higher than an urgent care place, but not dying is not dying. Hey Valesi, thanks for making a happy thread, man. A whole list of good little deeds that people have done, and you made a lot of people happy with the gold on top of it. So seriously, thanks. I stop and help people having trouble with their vehicles on the side of the freeway, and occasionally at drive-thrus I will also buy the people's orders behind me for them without their knowledge or consent. I always want to stop and help, but I'm too nervous to, and plus, I don't know how much help I could offer. The drive-thru thing is so cool and fun, though. I could definitely do that. I took care of my disabled mother for 4 months after she had bone fusion surgery on her foot. I cooked, cleaned, did yard work, and helped her reach and do the endless amount of things she couldn't, including going to the bathroom and cleaning herself. I'm 20, working full-time and I'm a full-time student. Respect, man. So in my town, there was a boy born without an immune system. This boy was only able to live to 1, but he survived to 14. For the last 2 years me and my town have been raising awareness for this disease because he was the only one in the whole world born like this. We raised so much money and because of that we were able to make his dream come true of meeting Robert Downey Jr. He loves Iron Man. He was also able to go to the premiere of Avengers Age of Ultron. Look him up. Brock Johnson. He died on Wednesday. I am happy that those 14 years of his life that my family and our whole town were able to make those best 14 years ever. R.I.P. Brock Johnson. Fly high, little dude. I go to the hospital once every week to speak with my grandmother who suffers from Alzheimer's and pretend to be my elder brother, whom she always liked better. He died a couple of years ago, and she can't tell the difference between us at this point. Every time I tell her who I am, she showers me with praise and recounts how my brother, me, has never come to visit her, then starts listing all the things she didn't like about him, me. It's time consuming and emotionally draining, but I love her and I think she'd appreciate having her favorite grandchild around in her last few years. Hey man, that's like a new level of caring for another person, and you being able to step up to a task like that, wow. Stay strong and I hope good things come to you in the future. I saw a homeless man with his dog sitting outside a gas station in the winter on my way home from college one chilly night. I gave him all of my socks, bought him 2 cans of beans, one for him, one for his dog, and drove him to the nearest city as requested. There are a lot of onions being cut in this thread. Don't think that some weren't cut in your honor just because you're far down the line with no responses. I'm donating breast milk to a friend for her baby since she was diagnosed with rare aggressive breast cancer and has a 2-month-old. I donate breast milk too. I'm really sorry to hear about your friend. My best wishes for her and her family. I was walking along a busy street one day and saw a guy on the floor having what looked like some kind of seizure. Most people were just stood around gawking or just ignoring him, thinking that he was drunk on a load of drugs. I've only had basic first aid training, a half day at work, gave him CPR until the ambulance arrived, but unfortunately it turned out he had died whilst I was giving him CPR. Pretty strange feeling really. I just couldn't stand there and do nothing though. Amazing how many people make an excuse to not do anything. In 5th grade, I read every day to a kid who couldn't read so well in my class. By the end of the year he was reading to me. Moved home to help with my grandma, who built a house next door to my mother just so we could take care of her every day. My mom is a hospice nurse and deals with people at the end stages of life as a job. I did it for a total of 4 years so she didn't have to. I woke up one April morning to find my grandmother passed away. I almost don't know what to do with myself and haven't worked in a while. I feel lost now, but need to move out soon. Moneybags, whoever you are, you brought tears to my eyes with your consideration. Thank you. I failed to mention she was suffering from Alzheimer's disease, but had a relatively long life with her family around her. Thank you all for your recognition. I used to work at Walt Disney World in a park. I'll absolutely never forget my first magical moment. 2 families had come on vacation together, but one was obviously more well off than the other. They had 2 little girls with them and the parents were in our princess store buying some items for them. The poorer family was buying their daughter a really pretty necklace, but the more well-off family was buying the whole shebang for their little girl, a princess dress, crown, shoes and accessories. I was ringing them up when I heard the poorer little girl ask her mom, "Mommy, why can't I be a princess but can I ask them where they were from and why the little girl didn't believe she was a princess. She insisted that princesses had to wear dresses. I picked up the phone and called my manager. There's a thing at Disney where everyday managers are able to make magical moments for guests. Most of these are simple things, a fast pass for a ride, a free bottle of water, ect. But my manager was able to get a free princess dress for this little girl. It was so exciting. We didn't tell her that it was happening while it was being worked out. Instead I covered her and her friend in pixie dust and we sang songs from Disney movies in the middle of the store. She and her mother both cried when my manager presented it to them and hugged us and thanked us for making their vacation so special. That was all the gold I needed for a lifetime. I told off the lady in front of me at 7/11. She was bitching out the cashier about nothing in particular. Something in me snapped. I love this freaking store. I'm sorry you'll see, but you need to leave after she left. I didn't explain myself to the cashier. He hardly understands English. Anyway, sure he sucks at his job, but goddammit I love 7/11. If I could have a large Slurpee every day of my life until I died, I would die happy diabetic fat man with no regrets in life. I tell myself this every day. I reflexively caught a classmate's pencil pouch before it fell off the desk and spilled his pens and pencils all over the floor. He has like 30 pens and pencils in there. Whoa. Bought a homeless man a sandwich. Made a homeless man around our building muffins. Returned $80 I found on the floor at the grocery store. Lent my friend's parents $3,000 in high school to fix their car. While deployed, I got to know a worker who dreamt of coming to the USA for better work. His co-workers mocked him for this. I gave him my personal contact information and promised him a week's stay at a hotel, work clothes, and myself as a reference for work. I never heard from him though. I think you forgot to pay for the flight. We had a mock robbery at work once. Drill. To see how people handle it. The three of us working didn't know. I am apparently the person who stands up to the robber and makes sure the two people I was working with were behind me and safe. I don't know if he would have harmed me if it was a real robbery, but I would have fought to death to protect people I barely know. I learned a lot about myself that day. Also, always give them the money. It can be replaced. The idea of a mock robbery sounds super dangerous to me. That can't be a good idea. I always try and make people's days better with simple manners. A sincere smile, hello, holding open the door, or just asking how they are. This handicapped guy's wheelchair ran out of juice, so I pushed him home. I felt so bad when people were just driving by him. Took me 3 years, but I finally snapped and got the courage to argue with my dad that I won't get married until I have studied or did a job I liked. Even after him saying that, kids like you make their parents want to die, or threatening to disown me, I felt proud of myself because none of my sisters are brave enough to stand up for themselves. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.